And here we go. Here we go. Champion Select is underway. Of course, as always, we are seeing the bans go down first, and no surprise at all, we are seeing the Rengar ban go down, targeting Chaos Reign 77, something he quite expects often to happen. So, not really much being said there, because I'm sure he's prepared to not play Rengar in this case as well, as much as he does play him in ranked. We are also seeing an Urath ban, which is another targeted ban towards Chaos Reign. And we're also seeing on the other team, on the other end of the stick, we're seeing Nidalee and Kale being banned. I'm not sure if they did their research, but those are very in particular bans, to say the very least. So I feel like those are targeting someone on Salty Flare's team. Still waiting on the third ban to come out from blue team here, and it is an Ashe. That's actually quite a surprise, and I have to say they probably just don't want to deal with her as an ADC. If they're going to actually, dedicate their whole ban to that, since most of Chaos Explosion Frito's team are mainly improvised, apart from Chaos Reign and Silver Explosion. But who knows? And we're seeing the Cho'Goth being locked in by blue team, Evelyn being hovered in by red team. Cho'Goth, a very strong pick in the current meta, a very highly contested pick, in fact, and very commonly banned one. I know from personal experience that Disembody on purple team over here, or red team, why does it say purple team still, is actually a very common Cho'Goth main. So they may just be doing that out of nether. They didn't have much time to research these players on Frito's team, but they could have just glanced over their they could have just glanced over the characters' names, since that does have this little thing here saying who you played most and who you frequently play. So that would be the LP Saltman right there if he did do that. But seeing the picks go out again, locked in on Evelyn and Thresh being locked in, very strong picks. Interesting for Evelyn. We'll have to see how that goes. Chaos Reign definitely showing in the past that he's been a very positive and common player of stealth-based assassins, so that will be a very strong synergetic pick with him. Lee Sin being hovered in by blue team over here. Actually a very strong pick as well. He can use that to his advantage, even though he will reveal Evelyn with his E automatically, and by hitting her at all. The biggest factor here is that he will be able to detect her potentially if she does get anywhere near him. And the Alistar being locked in by S2 Flare, a very good pick against Thresh, or at least potentially, no less. He can react to the hooks. He gets pulled in very close, and in most cases he can actually just knock him up and then knock him away, or target the ADC immediately after, and it sets up a lot of potential if he does get hit with the hook instead of the ADC. Very interesting pick. We haven't seen this, I think, at all during the previous tournament, and this is the first match of this tournament, so I can't say much about that. Singed being locked in by OnlyUseMeBlade. With Ghost. That's actually a very smart decision too from a lot of Singed mains. Yeah, come on, Glitchy. You can talk, man. Chaotrix for charity, locking in the Arhi pick, and we're seeing that actually the Akali pick being locked in very quickly in reaction to that. I'm not really sure how that'll fare, but that's a very good pick. But it's kind of interesting thinking about how the seasons have aggressed, and how we're seeing this more than likely an Akali mid lane as opposed to top, and Cho'Goth top lane instead of mid, because those used to be completely backwards towards Season 2. Jinx being hovered in on for ADC, a very strong pick for the current team, but he is switching and swapping over between a few, as we see here with that Kog'Maw and Kalista. And Kalista being locked in, actually a very good decision in my opinion, going against the three mainly tanky character champions on the red team here, with that Evelyn, Thresh, and
just realized
Singed.
I was muted.
There you go. Yeah. Disembody locking in with the Graves against Kalista. That'll be an interesting pick. I think that has potential, but yeah, and actually you're right. The trade going down, the Swaparino.
I feel with Kalista, that's definitely a strong pick, because one of the best ways to counter her is pure burst. And if you ever see something with pure burst, that is exactly what Graves brings to the table.
Indeed, it's pretty much, the long story short is, he doesn't need. It's like, I don't need to kite you. I'll just blow you up, and we'll see how that fares.
feel like the bot lane will be having a lot of action this game, especially because of the fact that it is an Alistar versus a Thresh. Kalista has a very strong engage due to that Alistar, though, based on the fact that not only can she throw him in, but after he's thrown in, he now has his knock-up and his W, which means that he can go in, knock up again, and then W, most likely a squishy champion like Arhi or Graves into the middle of blue team, making a lot of the damage for red team go away.
Absolutely. So for the top lane here, I think it'll be kind of an interesting matchup, but I have to think that out of personal bias that it's going to be in Cho'Goth's favor here. It will depend on how aggressive that Singed is going to be, but I have to think that Cho'Goth especially is just going to be able to take him out incredibly well if he gets any kind of combo on him, and just be able to take the mana and health back from his passive if he's able to consistently have presence in lane. But that will depend. It's on the players. Singed might be aggressive as all can be.
Singed plays a passive game. He has a much higher chance of coming out of it ahead of Cho'Goth, just purely based on how Singed works. Because of the fact that he can run around the farm for just a second, dodge most of Cho'Goth's skill shots, and then just go back to tower and wait for the next wave. So he doesn't ever have to fight to be able to secure himself this farm.
For these level 6 team fights, we're definitely going to have to watch out for them, though. Both top laners willing to teleport, and Cho'Goth being an incredibly strong ganker just because he can feast that 1,000 a true damage right on anyone he chooses. So for anyone on the stream right now, once again, I'm going to throw down the straw poll, and you can vote for who you think is going to win this match between Salty Flare on the blue team and Chaos Explosion of Fritos on the red team here. Choose wisely. We will be watching this straw poll on who you think is going to win.
I can't believe that I was muted. I'd been talking for like 10 minutes.
I was probably interrupting you too, and you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know if you could hear me, but
Yeah.
I find it really funny that all it was is that I was muted, though. That's pretty hilarious in my opinion.
Both bot lanes are pretty deadly as far as kill potential goes. Kalista is always an incredibly strong level 2 champion, especially a lot more stronger in level 2 compared to Graves, who's pretty much only got his level 1 with the buckshot. Thresh can obviously set up kills for days as long as he lands a hook. But we're looking at it in a different way. The Alistar has sustain built into him. He has the same aggression, the anti-aggression, if anything else, against the Thresh if he does get hooked. Kalista can obviously just take a huge advantage out of. Oh, sorry, everyone. That's the real one. I forgot the slash R. Just makes it where you can read the results. But there's a lot of huge potential there. But usually sustain versus no sustain can be questionable because healing doesn't innately mean you're going to win. But that's also a lot of support for the fact that you can take free damage and still get away with it too. So the bot lane will be an interesting one. I definitely am going to have to watch.
Yeah, I feel like once we get into at least mid to late game, these fights are going to be happening constantly. And I feel like what's really going to happen is we're not going to see a lot of drawn-out fights. It's going to be a lot of quick, decisive victories, one way or another, or it's going to be an ace or something, or somebody's going to get really weakened and the other one's going to go away. But I don't think that we're going to see some fights that are going on for almost minutes at a time occasionally. Overall, I do feel this game will be fairly close.
We will have to see. As far as the team comps go, we gotta look at this for the team fights here. Blue team. I keep looking at a lot of different things here. Blue team, I think, has a lot of good potential for team fights here between the Cho'Goth, Lee Sin, and Alistar. That's a lot of CC, a lot of peel in particular as well, and a lot of gap closers between the Alistar and the Lee Sin at least. Cho'Goth, if he lands a knockup at any given point in time, that's going to be set up for the rest of their team on a very strong level. They have Akali there as well, just to basically go straight for their backline, shoot for any carry that they choose to be a threat. But on the other hand, red team does have pretty good peel for themselves in backline support with that Thresh and Singed as well. So If Akali does choose to become a threat later in the game, if she does get fed or become a threat at all, we're going to be seeing a lot of flip-flopping going around with the tosses, the hooks, and the flays.
I think another very important factor to think about is that on the blue team, they have so many ways of just drawing an enemy into their team. They have Alistar going into the middle with a pulverize, headbutt, knocking an enemy in the middle of his team. They have Lee Sin going in, ward jump kick. They have Akali can immediately jump into the enemy team, blow someone up. I mean, they have so many ways of CCing someone and then knocking them back into the rest of their team to absolutely demolish them, that team fights will definitely have to be a careful endeavor for Fritos.
Seeing the ward go down top lane, safe, regular patterns right now. Nothing really indifferent. Yeah, no crazy LCS big plays right now.
Both teams seem to be playing it safe, wanting to have minimal risk, making sure that whatever happens isn't going to happen because they did something wrong. It does seem like Lee Sin will be starting his blue buff. Same with Evelyn. Knowing Chaos Reign, I'm going to say that this game could be... It's going to have a lot of ganks.
Most certainly, and the bigger factor, the biggest factor of all, more than likely actually, of Evelyn is just the fact that she has that stealth, that wards are utterly useless against her. So for the early game, for someone at Chaos Reign's experience of play, I would be surprised if we didn't see early ganks and aggression.
We're running on official Riot pause timer rules, correct?
What the rules we are going by? Sorry guys, thank you for correcting me with the team names. I forgot to update that. The rule for pauses are basically, according to Kit, 15 minutes. If you exceed that time, basically it's not really a DQ, but you lose the round. And would you guys like the music to continue playing, or would you like to just, continue with the voices? And
I think that since we're into a tourney game, it should be voices mainly.
That's what I did previously, but some people like the music. Okay, so all right, top lane, the only real different lane with items. Singe actually starting with the Crystalline Flask against Cho'Goth, and pretty common start for Cho'Goth. Akali going to get hit with the charm and the orb from Arhi. Getting a lot of good harass onto herself there. But the only different item really being bought in this game so far is the Crystalline Flask from Singed. I think it's a smart idea overall, because he will be taking a lot of free harass. Cho'Goth has a huge amount of sustain, and that Duran's only synergizes with him even more to get the mana back from the ring and his passive. So he's going to be incredibly hard to push out of lane.
Singe will also need it due to the fact that he will be using a lot of his mana purely to farm.
Oh, here we go. We're seeing the first pause of the game.
The first pause, the cause that we can tell right now is a disconnect due to Alistar. His game has frozen, so we're going to get that restarted real quick, and we will hopefully have you right back into the action and continuing this not quite so riveting yet, but should be riveting game.
Well, so let's see. Bottom lane hit the level 2. Everyone's level 2. We did just see Evelyn with the first back there, actually going for the Ranger's Trailblazer rather than continuing through her jungle route. And at the moment, we can see we can see Lee Sin at the moment doing the exact opposite, looking like he just took his blue buff and actually went straight to his red buff. I think he's just doing that just out of protection, so that Evelyn did not come and invade it. So both interesting strategies in reality.
I feel that with Evelyn, that's a very good strategy because of the fact that her early game is not as strong as most other junglers due to the fact that she is so squishy and mana dependent. And with the Ranger's Trailblazer, you can restore you can restore a majority of your health and majority of your mana, smiting whatever you want, and then you also get the effects of the other smites. Alistar has just reconnected, so we should be getting back into this game yet again in just a moment.
Okay, here we go. Hopefully.
Hopefully we do not see another crash anytime soon. Anyway, for a quick discussion, we already see Singed pulling ahead in the top lane by even just a little bit of farm, while the Graves is pulling ahead slightly, and Arhi seems to have a minuscule lead.
She's been definitely leading in the harassment so far, but Akali's doing a great job of farming under tower. Well, he wants him to be quiet, you know. And if anyone in the chat could just keep posting or occasionally post the straw poll to keep people voting, that would be greatly appreciated. Well, I guess the camera really loves top lane right now. Not much else going on.
Does.
Some good harass there, even though Singed is... He's still getting him down really low, even though he's been very close to out of mana. I think he just, in fact, used his last
charge, which means that he's going to have to be very careful in this lane. His first back...
Akali once again taking some great damage. He actually flashes away, kind of expecting the Arhi to ignite or further advance. A little reactive there of her, but very safe. She actually flashes into the tower, igniting her as well, but she gets the recall off still. Wow, that was that was actually a close call. Singed just tossing Cho'Goth around. He does not want to be a gentleman. He is not a saint.
Very sorry about that. My mom just had a question for me.
Yeah, you're fine. We see Lee Sin top lane right now. Cho'Goth gets the knock up onto the Singed. Lee Sin safeguarding to a minion, hitting him with the Q, connecting. Gets him with a slow smite as well. He's hitting with the red buff, but he's walking through poison right now. They don't have enough damage to kill him, and Cho'Goth was walking back actually as well.
So Singed will burn his ghost to get away from that, which is a reasonable trade considering that there were no
hook down on bot lane onto Kalista, taking her down to half health. Alistar walks forward and knocks him up, and knocks Grave into the tower damage as well. Very good trade from that damage, returning the hook. Kalista's getting a ton of Ren stacks onto the Thresh. Still very low on health, and this is a risky position for the both of them. Exhaust going down to Kalista, and Alistar still on the front line, knocking him back, and there we go, the Ren for the final kill.
Blood.
Very nicely done, and good communication for both team members, confidently just running at low health, knowing they have that summoner spell heal, and then knowing they had the kill secured, and not backing off until it was 100%, and they had the confidence to execute the rend.
That is a lot of trust that you need to be able to do that, especially in a tournament where you're not playing with somebody that you've known for a long time. These guys have only had about a month to practice, and in the case of Red Team, they've only had no time. They have 2 players from their actual team in this game. The rest of them are filled with randoms.
That's a very good point, in fact, as well. For Singed, on his first back, we're seeing Tear the Goddess going down. Pretty decent decision, considering he is going to be using a lot of mana overall, and he's actually having a lot of aggression and success overall in lane against the Cho'Goth.
It's a pretty standard build, because with his poison, Tear of the Goddess stacks every second, which means that thing is going to be filling up very fast.
Absolutely. We're seeing Evelyn towards the mid lane right now, trying to sneak in a gank here. Arhi roams forward with her ultimate as Akali places down her stealth. She's going to walk out of the bush, go towards the red team's blue buff, however, and get Lee Sin trying to follow up to help her out, not going to be not there soon enough, in fact, getting some good damage in on him from Evelyn right there.
He will fail the ward jump, however, which could have gotten him out with taking slightly less damage. And Evelyn seems to be going into the jungle. Kalista on her first back is picking up a BF sword and a pink ward. Very good pickup there. Very early BF sword, under 10 minutes.
And very wise to pick up the pink ward, especially.
Yes, that will definitely help him, because you can put it directly in this tri-bush, and it will keep a lot of wards from being placed early in this game. And it will also help because there's no time limit on it, so you have a guaranteed ward there until somebody steps in the bush.
Graves and Thresh hitting level 6 before Kalista and Alistar. I'm not really sure what their experience bars are looking like, but if they push into lane, this could get nasty. There's Alistar hitting level 6 now.
Hit level 6. Thresh is still at level 5.
Alistar deciding to back, actually, as he hit level 6, just from the minions around him. Kalista being left alone in this lane may not mean a huge amount, but if she does get caught out by a hook, that could mean death.
Arhi on her first back will pick up a Chalice and a Fiendish Codex. That's a lot of cooldown reduction for her right this early in the game. That's 10% cooldown reduction with 2% mana regen every 5 seconds. She also has that Doran's Ring and will pick up a Pink Ward, which against this Akali is going to play a huge role. Singed has back. It looks like he will be going for an early Rylai's, maybe a Righteous Glory.
Yeah, that or a possibly a Rod of Ages as well. Looks like Cho'Goth actually picked up the Catalyst for the Rod of Ages more than likely as well. It's a pretty common pickup for him at least. Seeing interesting but not really too surprising first pickup from Akali, not really going for the Lichbane in this case, going for the Hextech Revolver right now for the Spell Vamp. And even through the fact that mid lane we're seeing Akali was almost getting closed in on there by the Evelyn and the Arhi ulting in forward, but she did have to waste her flash and she put down the Shroud.
Looks to be landing some harass on the top lane on Cho'Goth. He's trying to drop him as low as he can right now.
Mid lane's getting some crazy duels in. Any moment now we should see a death if Akali chooses to stay. But the Alistar actually disregarding the fact that Evelyn, obviously can't be detected by their wards, still wanted the health and the vision control in case mid lane.
Coming in for the gank onto Arhi, misses his Q, but I think, no, he's charmed. Flashes, lands the R. I think Akali...
Oh, he chose to step back into tower range even after he got ignited. Very greedy of him, and I think he was just hoping and going on the limb that the tower aggro would have switched to Akali, but not enough. That was actually very poorly done.
It was very poorly executed, and Arhi walks away with a kill in her pocket, bringing a lead of 1 kill to 2 for the red team. Sin currently already has 230 stacks on that tier.
That's pretty impressive, I have to admit. At the bot lane, we're still seeing Thresh. Graves here, he has not backed yet. He's only sitting on the Dorans, and even so, he actually does have more farm than Kalista. But that's mainly why, because he hasn't backed. But at this rate, she's probably going to be overtaken in terms of farm, just because how much easier and more successful Kalista's going to be able to bully the lane.
Well, having played with Chaotrix and seen his gameplay, I would say that she does have this advantage of more damage, and definitely, eventually, she's going to have an advantage of a lot more attack speed. But through his playstyle,
Evelyn sitting in the bush at this bottom lane. Alistar actually trying to go in.
Ulti directly onto Kalista.
The box going down from Thresh to slow Alistar. Kalista still in range. He's still just trying to get away so he can ult Alistar out of here. He's getting so much out of this. Alistar popping his ultimate finally, and looking like Lee Sin's going to follow up here. Alistar jumping in onto the Thresh, and Lee Sin landing the Q, connecting it to the Thresh as well. Kicking Graves right into the wall. Not enough damage left here as they're very low on health in a risky situation. Graves did ult there, and he's out of mana.
Arhi's coming down, but she does not know that there's a pink ward in this bush, which means that her approach will be spotted out. Lee Sin misses the Q. Arhi lands a charm onto Alistar, trying to outplay 3 people. It will not work, and I think we may see a kill going onto Arhi here.
All skill shots are missing. If Lee Sin or Kalista could have landed their abilities, she would have been dead.
Arhi
very nicely done on Lee Sin's part.
Will make it out. Singed once again putting harass down onto Cho'Goth in the top lane. He is barely ahead in farm compared to the big man.
Yep, once again.
Tear of the Goddess is stacking very quickly for him. Raze on his first back is able to pick up a BF sword, pickaxe, boots, and a long sword, but he does not bother with buying any pots. This could be a questionable because I don't think he has
Evelyn roaming on the
lifesteal.
mid lane, looking like she's just gonna try to farm here. You know, camera panning back top lane, wants to get a little action on the wet noodle fight going on. You know, it's a lot of action.
Actually,
with that.
I think it's a pretty intense fight, honestly. I mean, a little while ago, Cho'Goth was half health. Now it's singed.
Akali actually definitely a common build, but going for the Hextech Gunblade as our first item. In fact, going to go in on Disembody there, getting a lot of good damage, just ulting in and ulting away, actually dodging the orb. That was very nicely executed.
Thresh getting some deep wards into the enemy jungle on the red side. These could play. They could be very important as to, and I think it symbols that they're trying to push down the enemy bot lane as fast as possible. We could see an engage here in the bot lane. Alistar uses his Pulverize. Kalista gets hooked. There's a lot of Ren stacks on the Graves right now, but he grabs the Lantern and is safe.
Just want to note that Kalista has built her Bloodthirster. She's still holding on to that pink ward she bought previously, and we see Evelyn sitting around the Tri-Bush right now as Kalista actually just places down her pink. Cho'Goth popping his Feast top lane, getting good damage in onto the Singed, but that was a little lackluster, and I think he knew that wasn't going to kill him, so odd decision to choose to ult there.
Singed slowly, actually pretty quickly, stacking that Tear of the Goddess. Already at 375 stacks.
Evelyn popping the ultimate onto Kalista bot lane as Alistar knocks him back into the wall. Thresh's box going down as Lee Sin pushes forward and knocks Graves right back into all three of them. Graves just pops his ult onto Lee Sin, grabs a free kill as we see Singe teleporting down bot lane, pops his ghost.
He burns his ult and ghost. Looks like this will end up being a 2-for-2 as Alistar burns his flash, but it is futile as he dies. And this will be a dragon going down to the red team most likely.
Cho'Goth on his last back finished his Rod of Ages, and at the moment we're seeing Singed very close to finishing his as well.
Akali roaming down to Dragon Pit.
Sitting on a pink ward. She knows there's no vision. Now she's actually walking into a pink ward. Hopefully she does not get hooked by this Thresh. And she walks straight into the hook as Thresh Graves is sitting right there. Takes the Lantern over the wall. Akali almost getting she gets a kill onto the Thresh amazingly through it all.
Evelyn chasing.
Cho'Goth still top lane right now, pushing onto their tower even more after already taking the first tier tower.
Going to be a lot of damage Singed is able to get there. So while they did trade Dragon for Tower, I feel like Dragon was a much better thing to get out of that. It doesn't open up the map as much as taking a tower does, but it does give them this early dragon and that extra damage that they can snowball later into even more dragons.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see here. Not really sure what Lee Sin's going to be going for with that pickaxe. Maybe might be seeing like a Tiamat going down eventually into a Ravenous Hydra. Cho'Goth roaming to the mid lane as Akali has finished her hextech. Good point. Good spot. Good spot. And we're seeing the Giant's Belt on Alistar. Actually, he's not really looking to finish face of the mountain. Might be going for a Randuin's Omen perchance here. And Akali getting hit with the Charm mid lane, just taking some free damage.
Top lane wet noodle fight continues.
Indeed. Evelyn, for a change, just want to point out what her build looks like it's going for. We're seeing the Phage and the Zeal, so possibly going to be seeing a Tiamat. I mean, not Tiamat, Trinity Force going out here so for this AD Evelyn. That'd be an interesting build because she does benefit from movement speed massively since she has so much built into her kit already. Mid lane, top lane actually, Cho'Goth taking Singe down very low. He does not have his feast up. In fact, he just used it to get him that low, even though it wasn't on the camera.
Mid lane also.
Bottom
Arhi
lane
dropped
going
low
in.
from a small
Alistar
skirmish.
popping his combo and the exhaust going down on Graves. Kalista's going to get hooked in the process of that. Now we're just seeing the battle going down. The wall is placed. Kalista's not jumping into it. Mid lane, in the process of this, we're seeing Akali going down as well. Kalista finally getting the exhaust going down. Thresh hoping she would use it, use her rend as she was exhausted to prevent some damage. Closing in, almost having no positioning room left here. She does flash into the wall, nowhere to go. As Evelyn roams down finally.
Will save Alistar also, and will save Thresh also, and possibly pick up this Alistar kill. One more Q ought to do it. Nice job, and she will be able to W to get out of there.
He's Sin
sorry.
ward jumping at the mid lane, trying to get a pick out. Cho'Goth bot lane doing some great damage to the Evelyn. He gets hooked as well. He could just turn onto the Thresh if he chose to save it. They're both backing away. Akali roaming mid lane, throwing down the Hexa Gunblade active and popping her ultimate twice. Third time here now. Looks like she's going to go in. She lands the Q. She does not have another ultimate to land onto her.
Unfortunate. She burned a lot to try and get to that. Luckily, she does still have her Ignite, though, which means in the next engage, depending on how it goes at the beginning, she could walk away with a kill.
Top lane, we're seeing Singe taking down the tower after almost 20 minutes now, and he does have his Rod of Ages completed. He has a big scaling advantage against this Cho'Goth in terms of being a tank at the moment with all the stats he's getting from these stacking items.
Needs about 200 more stacks on that tier of the goddess before it's full.
Kalista getting hooked in the bot lane. Graves doing a ton of damage. He has his Infinity Edge already built. He doesn't even need to use his ult, even though it wasn't up at the time, or his Q. He just takes the kill and then buckshots the Alistar for a free kill.
You know, I feel like in this case, the way that Graves is building right now is going to advantage him really early into this game compared to Kalista. Kalista benefits so much from attack speed, but she went for the Bloodthirster, and it's going to cost her early right now, but I feel like late game she does
Evelyn
have...
roaming around onto this Lee Sin, popping her ult immediately and trying to get some good damage onto him, forcing Lee Sin to flash over the wall as Thresh and Graves are approaching from the side. Graves lands a great crit onto Akali, and Thresh actually hooks over the wall to secure the kill.
A big crit. That crit did 457 damage to Akali right there.
Cho'Goth being the only one to defend the tower, not going to have any impact on it at all. Kalista just returning to lane, still taking some harass from this. As we see Singed split pushing the top lane very, very slowly. No progress yet, but he's there. He's there.
So right now, I'd like to just talk about the gold lead you're seeing come out of the bot lane right now. Graves is 2,000 gold ahead.
Cho'Goth's feast going down into the Thresh. We're seeing a fight. Alistar getting some great damage onto him. He pops his ultimate at a very low amount of health. He's going to go down as Singe is just teleported in. He's going straight for Kalista. She doesn't care that she's jumping. He just tosses her back.
So to return to what I was talking about, you have Graves right now has a 2k gold advantage over Kalista. Thresh has a 1.5k gold advantage as a support, and the top lane is fairly even, but the junglers have a 2,000 gold discrepancy also.
And we're looking like we're going to see an uncontested dragon here from Red Team, the second dragon of the game.
Red Team got this advantage very early, and they seem to know exactly how they're going to pressure it.
Absolutely no vision at all. Although, however, they did just see two members of the Red Team run through that ward that was near the middle lane.
Kalista picks up a recurve bow. I think that this will be going into a Bork or a Runaan's, depending on what she feels she needs right now. Graves picks up a Last Whisper, which is a very strong pickup right now, considering the fact that there's not a lot of armor, so ignoring the 35% of what's already there will amplify his damage to a point where he can blow up basically anyone he wants.
Mid lane going in onto the Arhi. She actually dodged the charm very nicely and then just immediately turned on her, getting the kill with the exhaust going down as well and having to flash away from tower. team bottom lane. Looking like they're going to try to take this tower. It's pretty low on health at the moment. Thresh actually misses his hook on a standstill target that was just going for the tower. As Kalista's getting a lot of Ren stacks on him, but not going to even attempt to.
He will not detonate. Graves rotating back to the bot lane as Kalista and Alistar back off.
Looks like Thresh.
There's no dragon there anymore.
Tears fully stacked. Actually, Singed is fully stacked now and has that Archangel staff.
He's almost there. He has.
Well, actually, yeah, you're right. My bad. I was thinking
out of
very close, very close. He will be fully stacked soon. He can share his tears with you. Thresh actually going to steal that Grom from Graves. Wow. Hey, supports need some love too, alright?
Yeah, I know. I think the crit from Graves was an unexpected amount of damage that just happened to
So we're seeing what appears to be a Randuin's being picked up by both supports actually in this case. We're not too sure with Alistar just yet, but having the Giant's Belt, it's very likely that's what he's going to go for. And in the top lane at the moment, actually, we're seeing the Giant's Belt and Glacial Shroud from Cho'Goth. We might see a Frozen Heart, although that won't build from the Giant's Belt, but I still think, I feel the potential that's what he's going to go for. But we'll have to find out.
That would be pretty smart. I've never seen a Cho'Goth build an Iceborne Gauntlet before. It'd be a pretty interesting build if he did. Speaking of which, where would Cho'Goth even put on an Iceborne Gauntlet? He doesn't have hands.
Oh, I mean, I don't know, man. He'll just like punch you with his horn.
Good point. No, so Evelyn did pick up a Triforce, and it looks like she's going into a
Spirit Visage, it looks like.
Spirit Visage now, you're right. Which will bring a lot. Singed is one tick of his poison away. That is a max out tier of the goddess, which brings him to a Seraph's Embrace.
We're seeing both teams gravitating towards the mid lane right now, not really even trying to contest anything, really just looking for fights and trying to start something.
It's like we could see our first team fight very soon.
Red team still pushing up the mid lane, trying to be a sneaky snake here with that Evelyn, going straight under the tower, but gonna get hit with the silence from Cho'Goth. Blue team not really reacting to the tower being taken right now. Akali actually choosing to go in, but gonna get hooked in the process of choosing her ultimate onto the Singed. Singed tanking the tower for the rest of the team as the Graves finishes it off. And Feast going down from Cho'Goth onto Chaos Rain, actually. The very weird decision. He's done this quite a lot. We're seeing Alistar going back in, actually, trying to get the kill onto Evelyn. Not enough, as Graves, nice flash, dodging the buckshot that would kill himself. Lee Sin going in onto the Graves, killing him with the Dragon's Rage with, let's see, very good job on blue team. Actually, Kalista's going to get hit with the Charm and the Orb from Arhi, taking half her health. So very close call overall. If Akali did not get hooked that timely, it could have gone the other way.
Akali seems to be going for a Lichbane now, which will amplify her damage by a lot. And I feel with how much burst she's going to have to be putting down, because they have so much shutdown potential for her jumping into the enemy team, it's a very good pick because it amplifies her damage by a lot. I keep using that word.
It's just a hybrid item in general, and that's what she obviously synergizes incredibly with. She's pretty much the definition of hybrid. And very unfortunate for blue team there, though. They're already down a lot of gold, and 2 kills from Arhi and the Evelyn barely did just slip away in that fight. Luden's Echo being picked up as, I think that was her first item, I might be wrong.
Second item. Athene's Arhi was the first item for Arhi. Second item will be Luden's Echo, though, which is a very strong pick.
Just eat the crab. I guess you like seafood. Dragon is going to be up in 10 seconds, but they do have vision now, or at least vision of the area. Akali going to go in onto the Arhi, but good charm at the very last second going on, returning to the Akali. Arhi going to ult in, actually, and ult back out as the Thresh is nearby with Kalista and the rest of the blue team following suit in mid lane.
They're going to take this dragon. They need to take it now before Lee Sin's able to rotate over. There we have Evelyn and Graves both going in onto the dragon as the enemy team collapses towards them. They have one ward in the river. It's dropped low. Can it be stolen? No! Chaos Rain secures the kill as everybody from the enemy team engages onto them. Kalista pulls in Alistar. Dragon's Rage onto Evelyn. Oh my god. So much damage going down.
Singe teleporting in. Singe teleporting in to that pink ward that was sitting at the dragon. Akali still looking for a kill. Arhi misses her charm and is placing the Aura down. The Ignite going down onto Arhi and so much burst damage she couldn't live through it. Cho'Goth still searching and hunting for that kill from the Thresh.
Teleport down for Singe and Ghost down for their team. And this should be a turret for the blue team, maybe two. It was very good on them to be able to secure that dragon and give themselves a 3-0 dragon lead. But at the same time, they lost so much, and I think they're going to keep losing so much for that fight.
Absolutely. Doesn't look like the Singe and Thresh are going to be able to stop this tower from being taken right now, but they are holding them down while they can, getting a lot of good damage in from all of his poison flowing through the air here. Lee Sin connects his Q to a minion, and he will fly to it. That was an MLG play there. Nice dodge, I guess, from Graves, not getting hit with a knockup. A little questionable the flash out of it, but reacting very quickly to it. No less, going in with confidence. Still trying to get a damage in. He does get the crit after the buckshot to kill Alistar.
That was a 500 damage crit to take out Alistar, which will open up the map for them and turn into a Baron for the red team.
Absolutely. We're seeing actually Alistar on his last pickup for his item there, he actually picked up a Warmogs instead of a Randuin's. Kind of interesting. I think that's a decent item, but he doesn't have any form of resistance right now apart from those Merc Shreds. So, I mean, he does have his ultimate, so that does really help in terms of universal damage reduction. But if he, he's usually using these late into the fights, and he needs to really initiate pretty much with it in mind if he's going to make use of all that health, like it appears he's trying to.
Yes. Anyway, so we have red going on to Graves. He also has blue and Baron. Blue team did not have a timer for that Baron as they had no wards placed around it. So it will be a gamble whether or not they get it next time too.
Kalista with that Bilgewater Cutlass more than likely going to go into the Bork for a final pickup on and a very strong pick, but we'll have to see. Overall, she still won't really be able to duel this Graves under no means, I feel. So in these team fights, if she's not able to really just, fully stack up everyone on the team with Rens, Evelyn going to roam around, run right into Kalista as the rest of the team follows up. Alistar going in, and Singe is going straight for Kalista, tosses her back, and the poison actually kills her as Arhi takes the kill. Alistar's getting very low on health as the rest of the team is following suit. Arhi getting a triple kill as Cho'Goth finally appears.
Flipped back into the team. Arhi could be getting no Quadra
or Pensa today. That would be a little crazy to see in the first game of the whole tournament, but you can hope. Red team pushing into the base, taking the tower and inhibitor with that Baron buff, having no issues whatsoever, taking them all down. Blue team caught off by quite a surprise. They're not really expecting them to be there at all. They had no ward coverage in their own jungle there, and I don't think even then, I don't even think they expected them to have the Baron. And even so, if they did, they had no chance to stop them.
They did expect them to have the Baron. I saw Cho'Goth clear the ward that the red team had laid down, so they did know that the Baron was on to the blue team. I think what happened there is that Evelyn's stealth caught Kalista by surprise, and the rest of the team was there to help.
Evelyn once again catching the Kalista off guard, just going straight in onto her. She did have a ward placed, but I don't know if she was completely expecting her to just run through the path. Red team, wow, Singe is going to get eaten by the Cho'Goth as they were all pushing on top lane. That's one Baron buff down at the very least for them. While Evelyn and Graves are still pushing
out of this Baron and these dragons. It's very, very crucial because their team actually does fall off slightly more late game than the blue team. And Baron buff will run out as they push on to this set.
Akali going to get opened up on by the Evelyn here, going down immediately, actually pulling the stealth and getting a kill onto Evelyn in return. Very nicely done, and basically got a kill for nothing there just because of her stealth. Cho'Goth landing the knockup onto Graves. Silence going down so he can't dash away. Kalista's trying to get as much damage as she can onto him, but he's actually getting the shield from face of the mountain from Thresh. No chance whatsoever.
It was a big crit that turned that fight completely around.
Lee Sin going to connect the Q to Arhi. Plops his Ravenous Hydra, but he actually kicked her away too soon. He looks like he's going to go down to Singed as he is. There are no Krugs there. Sorry, the PM laugh from Singed. Look, oh, here we go.
Will let him go down to minions. It
might be well, he is gonna get slowed again, but can he do it? There we go. Finally. Yep.
BM.
No fun allowed. No fun allowed today. Dragon up in 5 seconds. No one at there at the moment, but red team does have their pink ward there, so they know blue team has no vision on it. Blue team previously did get the timer there when Lee Sin connected the Q and they tried to initiate a team fight but did not succeed in obtaining the dragon, so they know it's up right now. The gold lead right now is getting pretty high for red team. They're almost 10k exactly up on the blue team and have 4 towers, 3 dragons, so this is really obviously favorable to the red team, especially their team fights right now with that Graves and Evelyn.
Evelyn will grab the 4th dragon for the red team in just a little bit if she can't be stopped by the blue team, which will push this lead so far.
Alistar roaming up with that side stone, placing a ward down, but a little too soon. Not too late there. Sorry, buddy. Graves picking up the dang, I can't remember the name right now for some reason. Yomo's Ghostblade.
Ghostblade, yes, that's right.
There we go. That's a second. Yeah, I was looking at it. I'm like, a lot of dueling going on here, but blue team knows they can't fight this. Evelyn runs around them all, ulting onto the Alistar and Cho'Goth, gets a free, secures the kill for them as Alistar knocks Evelyn back. No way he can live through this as Graves actually just buckshots into the blind bush and gets the kill. Kalista being chased down by the Singed and the Arhi, force to pop her, summon spell heal actually, as Akali tries to come in and be a savior as well, going onto the Arhi, but not enough damage. She's going to turn on her again. No, she flashes away and she lives. Evelyn and the rest of the red team following onto Akali, but not enough damage, not fast enough here. Lee Sin going to get thrown back as Lee Sin flashes forward and kills the Arhi and gets the kill on the Singed somehow. Red team pushing onto this tower, having no hesitation to try to end this game as quickly as possible. Akali still alive, going to go onto the Evelyn, get a kill actually, but she's going to go down quickly to that Graves from his massive damage at this point into the game. Kalista throwing her ultimate down through the Alistar to try and get initiate on them, but Graves is still doing tons of damage. There's nothing they can do to stop this. Kalista still focusing on the Thresh, trying to get him off her. You see a ton of Ren stacks right now, but it's not going to be enough. Doesn't look like it. She's actually getting soloed from Thresh and the minions alone.
And Thresh and Graves will take down 4 members of the team by themselves. This should be the win for the red team as minions collapse onto the final Nexus turret. We see Graves come up, and that is the end of game 1, ladies and gentlemen. Wait. Are they going for another kill?
Lee Sin trying to defend it, kicking Graves back. We'll see if anything can happen. Akali actually going in as well, going to kill the Graves, and looks like they're going to get the kill on Thresh here, but there's a lot of minions they need to deal with very quickly now.
Akali and Lee Sin saving the game from ending immediately.
Smart decision from the Alistar actually killing the ward, but
this game.
Yeah, we'll see in the rest of the red team here just pushing down the tower like it's nothing, having no fear of anything going down because they know if blue team doesn't defend this, or doesn't defend their Nexus, it will be the game. Singe just running around, Rancid not caring about anything, just Evelyn roaming in onto Kalista once again. Very good prioritization of the ADC. Arhi getting a lot of good damage dealt to her as well, as Lee Sin tries to ward jump away, but he's actually going to get hit with the with some poison.
Oh, jumping on the Arhi, getting the kill again. She has 3 ults left still. She Hextech Gunblade Singe to keep him away. Akali will make it out of there alive still. Singe slowly taking down Alistar and that inhibitor turret.
That will be the 3rd inhibitor down. No structures whatsoever left up on blue team's base.
And Akali will get away.
Looking like we're going to see Singe trying to backdoor the Nexus right now, actually. Even with the Cho'Goth and Alistar sitting there. He's just roaming around, getting all those minions, and he's getting some help from the super minions now, actually, as well. As we see Evelyn running up at quick speed, making use of that Trinity Force to try and take out the Nexus.
And that is GG. The game will go to red team, majority made up of randoms. Victory. It was a good fight from blue team, but they just couldn't get over that gold lead.
Very nice job on Chaos Explosion of Frito's part. Very good and interesting game. That was very entertaining to watch and shoutcast. If we're looking at the straw poll, I'm going to refresh the page at the moment. It looks like we have 14 votes for Chaos Explosion of Frito's. 88% majority thought they were going to win. 2 votes for Salty Flare, 13%. Majority, what can you say?
Was correct.